what is dopamine-free life and work? How, like, what are these weird words that I'm just throwing at you? So, how about I actually talk to you about dopamine? Dopamine is basically it's equal to motivation. I should probably just like make another one here. Dopamine is equal to both motivation and let's also like show the fuck's that pain. Dopamine is both equal to motivation and pain. And basically, it really just depends on the level of dopamine. So if you've got a low level of dopamine or low baseline, it's like you can imagine like a pool. Don't really call it level. Well, I'll just call it level for the sake of like simplicity. If you have a low level of dopamine, the pain is going to be higher because dopamine just basically equals motivation, and if you have less motivation, it's going to be painful. And then also high dopamine equals high motivation. So it's kind of like in a sense it relates to these. And basically a dopamine-free life and work. So how about I address more terms here just to we'll kind of get around easier. Instant gratification. Oh yes. So what is instant gratification? To simplify this, it's basically choosing to take the happiness and gratification and the pleasure, choosing to take the pleasure today, but then usually this doesn't go well. Oh fuck, a lot of papers are just walking at me. Shit. Yeah. So it's choosing to take the pleasure today, but then in the long run, what ends up happening is basically you fuck yourself over, right? So drugs, an example of instant gratification activities is drugs, fapping, porn, um, eating junk food, eating like sweets. These things will give you happiness and pleasure today. Like the moment that the food touches your tongue, you'll feel like gratification, but then as soon as it's swallowed, oh wait, it's not as gratificant as it's, I don't know if that's even a word, but you get the point, right? And then you've got something like delayed gratification. And delayed gratification is basically just choosing to delay the pleasure from today. So choosing to take the pain today so that you'll get pleasure tomorrow. So an example of this would be like a cold shower. When you take a cold shower, like the first moment you hop in and then like the freezing water touches you, or like you jump in a freezing pool, right? As soon as like, and most people like resonate with the like freezing pool, so I'll just give you that example. When you first jump in, immediately your immediate reaction is like, oh shit, like full of shock. You absolutely hate it, and it's really like because you're freezing, right? So you're full of shock, you're full of stress, and then after a while, when you're in the water and you've basically like optimized your body to it, you actually feel pretty okay. In fact, you feel better than what you didn't. Like this guy Huberman that I just talked about, he talks about how basically cold showers or cold exposure, like exposing yourself to the cold, actually like increases dopamine to like a great extent, like after it's done. So you take the pain right now, and then after like 3 hours, you get continuous dopamine increase for 3 hours straight, which is, I mean, it's fucking amazing, right? So that's delayed gratification. Just want to kind of go into these terms so that then we can actually explain a dopamine-free work and life. So here we don't mean that dopamine is an evil dude. Dopamine's fine, right? In fact, dopamine is what like gets us to be motivated and gets us to like our work. But we don't want our work to be coming from instant gratification. We want it to be coming from delayed gratification. We want to be having the pain right now of not having this super extra fancy setup of the work, but then in the long run, we'll actually appreciate it more. So a lot of instant gratification happens basically just by us choosing to take the pleasure right now, right? So for example, if I just go down, basically I talk about like here, I'll get to it, but basically here it's like about fixing mental health and all this stuff. These are the basics, right? Here it's like increasing traction so that you'll actually do the work. Here it's about distraction elimination. And so when I said dopamine free work and life, this means that we don't want to be distracted with all the dopamine. And so kind of like I don't really want to jump to why just yet. I kind of want to just talk about why I'm talking about the basics here. Like when we talk about dopamine detoxing, like why would anyone dopamine detox? Because dopamine, like choosing the instant gratification today isn't exactly a good idea because mental health gets fucked by that, you know? And I basically made a like mental health guide for anyone who's watched that, but I basically just talk about what mental health is, how like most of the problems you face today is because of your mental health. And basically the solution, which is like one of the main solutions to it is just dopamine detox. And I mean, to sum dopamine detox up is just really just remove your socials, stop watching instant gratification, which is like basically like ranges from series to movies to anime or whatever you consume from those stuff, and actually just being a regular human, you know, as opposed to just like watching all these weird shit and then obviously like removing the bad habits, right? That's basically how it is. Video games and then all these other crap. That's basically summing it up. And I have like a full guide on dopamine detoxing if you don't really understand it. But for the guys who do, let's just move on with it. So if you don't understand this part here about dopamine detoxing or fixing your mental health, you could just basically like stop this. You could like come back to it and basically just go to another tab, or if you're on your phone, just change the video, like, or basically just go to YouTube and watch the dopamine detox full guide, right? Moving on. So basically, we talked about how mental health is basically like the main issue for all our problems from addictions and all that crap, right? We understand that we need to fix mental health, and we fix it by reducing the stuff that give us instant gratification, that give us pleasure right now and then end up fucking us over in the long run. But now that we've gotten those things, I kind of want to just talk about this. So specifically here, this is about increasing traction. So most people don't know the term traction, they know distraction. So I kind of want to explain the term traction from distraction. So basically, distraction is losing track of what you're doing, being distracted, moving from one thing to another. Distraction. Traction, which is without the just like traction, the word is you staying on track on your work. So you actually being more focused on your work. Well, okay, but how do you like enhance traction? And we're going to talk about this, but basically just doing the work you like alone that enhances traction. Obviously, there are other like productivity tips. I'll probably like make a whole like just like lecture specifically on how to boost your productivity, right? And then also distraction elimination, which is the part that we really want to focus on in here, which is basically just okay, you have a bunch of distractions around you. You've removed the main distractions. You've removed the social media off your phone. You've removed all those main like very obvious distractions, but you still got a lot of distractions, and we're gonna uncover them and like ways to actually like eliminate the distraction. And obviously, like it goes in these areas from phone to laptop to relationships to your literal like the place you work, desk. So yeah, and then basically I'll give you like kind of a resource if you want to like expand on this book right here, Indistractable. I'll definitely like just show you like a picture just because probably isn't like very like obvious from like this mini cam here. Okay, so first point, how do we increase traction? I think we understood the previous part about like just actually going on dopamine detox and all that crap, right? So, okay, how do you increase your traction besides the productivity tips? I see a lot of people who want to improve their ability to stick to the work and actually do it. But the problem is, first, they're doing work that they actually hate. So I'm gonna just go on a rant here, but basically, I have this friend, and he's basically like He used to talk to me about how he doesn't give a fuck about like like the business that he's doing. He's basically like doing drop shipping, right? And he says he doesn't give a fuck about the people he's doing drop shipping, like he's selling to. He just cares about making the money. And in the back of my head, I basically just thought like, bro, this guy isn't going to be consistent, and eventually he's just going to quit. Because when you think about it, like employment is a bit of an extreme example, and especially because it has its own rare case that you basically can't quit because it's literally like you're employed because you're stuck in a position like that. It's karma. But when you can choose the work you want, so for example, this guy, he's the same age as me. He can choose what he wants to do. He can choose the right business model that he actually likes, that he's passionate about. And yet he chose dropshipping because this guru sat in his leather chair is telling him, "Oh yeah, this makes a lot of money. I made 10K a month with this, and you should try this, and this will set you free." And Matrix shit, you know. And then basically he's like, "Oh yeah, I should do this," even though he's not looking at sustainability. He's not looking at what he actually wants to do, and then he ends up not doing the work because he doesn't like the work. And so the biggest way to increase your ability to do the work, your traction, is by just choosing work that actually that you like, that you're willing to do for the rest of your life. You're willing to do for free. Like as I'm giving this lecture, I'm willing to do it for free, bro. I don't give a fuck, right? And yet some other guy might not find this entertaining. Some other guy like if he like talks for an hour straight, it isn't exactly enjoyable for him. And so even though like for me, I really enjoy this, for another person it might be absolutely like destroying to him. And so you need to choose the work that you like. Don't just go by, oh yeah, this makes them like a whole lot of money. Oh yeah, affiliate marketing. I'm gonna go like help chiropractors scale their business. It's like it's just absolute nonsense. Now, this is only if you can. So for jobs that are like karma, like for example, so if you don't know what karma is, this is basically like you've got like long story short, it's basically something that's placed upon you, something that you can't control. Okay. If you can't control it, then yeah, at that point you have no control. It's karma. So school, for example, you could say that this is the type of work that you like have to do, and you don't control what you do in school because it's karma. You can't control it. Or you're stuck in this job of like employment and you can't actually go out of it because you're stuck to it. You have to continue doing the work or else you'll basically go bankrupt. And so basically you have to do it because it's karma, right? Now, this is the part that I just covered. It's for people who can actually control their work. So a guy who's living in his parents' house, a guy who's still like he's still really young, he's looking into entrepreneurship and he has the option to like open a business and start a business and actually like develop himself. And yet he's chosen a business just for the sake of the money. He's not chosen the business for the sake of I want to help these people because it's actually purposeful or that I actually enjoy the work and that it's interesting to me. So that's just kind of the point here anyway. Now, I'll definitely make like another lecture in the future talking about how you actually like other ways to increase your traction. And if you want to expand on this, I'll give you some resources. But yeah. So hold up, bro. Just fuck me, bro. Yeah, I basically just took off the fucking robe because it's fucking hot as hell. Okay. Moving along. Eliminating the distractions. So the first place you have a whole bunch of distractions on is your phone. Okay. So this book, I kind of just want to show you this. Basically, he's like, I just want to show you that. Yeah, hack back your smartphone. He has a full chapter on this. And basically, he talks about having like a minimalistic, like home screen to your phone. So here's an actionable step for you. Get your phone right now. Like, grab your phone. Let me just place this fucking book, bro. Grab your phone. Grab your fucking phone and just look at the home screen, okay? Like, actually, just look at the home screen. This is how my home screen looks. Hope you can see that shit. But basically, it's very minimalistic. I only have the apps that I actually use, and I have like this drawer system where it's basically just the apps that I don't use, and I just basically keep them in the drawer. Okay. So shit, one of the first things people get really wrong about that crap is they basically have the apps that like induce them to like. So okay, let me just tell you this. So there are certain apps that when you actually like look at the app cover, your immediate reaction is just to press onto the app. For like it's muscle memory. Like you open the phone and the first thing you do is just press that app, okay? If you've gone on a dopamine detox, the number of apps that you have for this have been reduced a lot, okay? But you still have this like problem where you have certain apps that you keep pressing onto. It could be like this cool app where you're watching this. It could also be your YouTube studio because you've started your YouTube channel, and you just keep looking at the YouTube analytics. It could also be just YouTube itself, or you just basically like keep watching YouTube videos or watching the shorts, right? So an easy way to kind of overcome this is so you have this in every single phone, basically, just a drawer system where you can choose which apps stay on the home screen, and then the rest of the apps just basically get hidden in the drawer system. So you have to like swipe up and then you'll see the rest of the apps. Even then, this doesn't really like fully like destroy those. Sometimes you just have to basically like remove the app and uninstall it and find other ways to use it. So for example, like for me, I just don't use Instagram or all like the socials on my phone. I used to have them. I tried having them multiple times. They just keep inducing distraction in me. So I just stopped having them on my phone. And instead, I just started using them on the laptop where I'm recording this. So another point is notifications. Okay. I'm just gonna make a guess right now, and I know for a fact I'm gonna be correct with this. You have notifications turned on for every single app on your phone. Every single app on your phone right now, if you go to the settings and you go onto notifications, it has notifications for all apps enabled. Okay. This is a fucking problem. So I remember when I first started like this YouTube channel, I'd basically be sat there and I'm recording a video, right? And then I'm recording with my phone, and then I hear a ding from the same phone. And then my immediate reaction is literally to take off the phone, off the like stop recording, take the phone off and see the notification. And that's fucking problematic, okay? So I know a fucking story of a guy, right? He's basically he keeps looking at the notifications. So whenever a ding comes in from his phone, his immediate reaction, he completely ignores everything he's doing, runs to the phone, opens it with his grubby hands, and just checks the notification. And it's not just this dude, it's like my mother does have the exact same problem. Mostly everyone I know has the exact same problem. Notifications. And so an actionable step is just basically first go onto the all option in the settings of like notifications, disable them, and then manually enable the ones that you actually require. So for anyone who basically like knows my content, or you've watched like the dopamine detox video or the monk mode video, you would know that I told you to have a Google Calendar, okay? And so, well, your Google Calendar manages your life, and so you need to have the Google Calendar to give you notifications of, okay, stop doing this, do this instead. When you shift the tasks, you you need to. How should I put this for you? You have types of apps that manage your life. So, I mean, for me, I have Notion. I have like my second brain system in Notion. I have the Google Calendar. It really helps manage my time, right? I have a whole bunch of alarms to really remind me of the important events. For all these things, I can't really just disable the notifications. So for the alarm app, I can't disable the notifications on that. For the calendar, the Google Calendar, I can't really disable the notifications on there. Same goes for Notion, because I can get reminders on the databases, like, like the basic like table thing in Notion, right? And so I need to have certain notifications on. Now, obviously, don't cope with this because just because I said, okay, I use Notion and I use Google Calendar and I use my alarms for notifications, all of a sudden you're gonna start coping. You're gonna be like, okay, well, I need Instagram because I have this very I manage a page on Instagram, so I need to see the notifications. I need to see the DMs. Oh yeah, this is listen. If you haven't taken step one, then just go take step one. Watch Dopamine Detox Full Guide, and then actually like come back here. Chances are, if you're here, if you're watching this, or at least you should like be here, you don't have any socials on your phone. You don't have instant gratification apps on your phone. And so the rest of the apps on your phone are just basically an app to measure your sleep for like if you have like a better sleep app, right? Or like sleep cycle. You could also have, like your Notion, your Google Calendar, you have the health apps. These apps, okay, don't enable the notifications if you don't need them. But if you specifically need them to actually be productive, then yeah. So I mean, for me, I basically just tell you only enable Google Calendar and maybe just yeah, alarms. That's it. So disable notifications and then comes phone calls, okay? So phone calls is another big problem, right? Now obviously I'll give you like when you should not use this, but basically the majority of your time your phone needs to be on either do not disturb mode or airplane mode, full shut, Like in fact right now, literally my phone's on airplane mode. Let me just show you this. Just let me just yeah, literally right now. Look at this. You can see that. Basically just shows that it's on airplane mode. I always keep my phone on airplane mode. Now, I mean, obviously, people around you, especially like your parents, they'll probably get really mad at you for doing this. But in the very least, your productivity will enhance substantially. Whenever you're doing work, whenever you're sat there and you're giving your presence to something, you give your presence fully. You don't just sit there. So I see this a lot, right? When we're sitting in like, so the family together, we're sitting and basically a lot of the time, I just see like my mother, my sister, and even my father, we're sitting together, all of us, like all four members of the family, we're sat there and they have their phones next to them and their phones aren't on airplane mode. Their phones are like, they're just, their phones are literally not next to them. Like a notification just like pop, bing, like right next to them. They're just fine. And what I realize is that it always just causes distraction. Never once have I sat down with the family and actually like experienced a deep conversation where all of us like came out of it really happy. It's always just surface conversations. It's always just sitting down with the family. Okay, let's discuss the groceries. Oh wait, my phone dinged, and oh yeah, okay, let me just see the notifications. Everyone's distracted. Random silences out of nowhere. It's just chaos, and I never want this for my children. Just to experience such like distracted lives. And I'm teaching you the same because I know that. Nor do you want that for you or your children. So for phone calls, unless you know you're going to be receiving a phone call, you keep your phone on airplane mode all the time. And preferably when you're doing the work, place it like inside of your closet. So I used to do this, I still do this, right? I whenever I'm doing the work, I place my phone in the closet. It's literally like it's placed right behind me in that closet. Shut. On airplane mode, no notifications enabled, like just making sure that nothing can disrupt your work. Because as a masculine man, your number one priority is your work. You can argue around, but your number one priority is your work. That's like that's how it is anyway. So apps, notifications disabled, apps that get you pressing on them, absolutely removed from the home screen. Minimalistic phone, which basically means having the home screen like only one screen, preferably only like one home screen and nothing like just like so you could like swipe around. Don't swipe around. Like don't have screens like on your phone. And then what I would say is minimalistic, which like means have a certain like don't waste all your time on this. Don't cope with your work. Then just like basically do this. Basically, just to kind of summarize this, group apps together that like resonate with each other. So the health apps, for example, you could put your like MyFitnessPal, you could place that, you could place next to it like Better Sleep, and then you could place like your Huawei Health or whatever. You basically just place these apps right next to each other. And obviously don't like place them in groups. You can place them in groups if you want to. I just don't find that going into groups and like having to search for the apps is like needed. So you just place them outside, like as they are. You place them like right next to each other, like as lines. So the first line on your home screen is health apps. The second is your business, like tracking stuff. The third is whatever you want, right? But basically, you just place them in a certain order that actually like enables you to be more productive, and you know exactly where each app is, and they're not like just shuffled around, right? That's like minimalistic phone, and obviously like not having multiple screens. And also, we talked about do not disturb in airplane mode. Basically, you can. So for maybe if like you're a father or something, like it's a very rare thing to find. But if you're a father in here and you like have like a child who like you have to like you're waiting for your child to hit you up like because he's done from like going to the gym or whatever, you can do this. Like you can still like have the do not disturb, but then you can have special contacts. So like this is only I think it's only on iPhone. But basically like you can have special contacts that specifically like can override the do not disturb. So you have do not disturb enabled, all the contacts will be blocked out besides the priority contacts that you have set previously. And so all you really need to do is just place like the phone that you need to get in there. Now, obviously, I have a Huawei, so I don't really have that. And so it's basically like whenever I'm like I want to receive a call or I know I am will be like I will be, I just basically just keep my phone like off of airplane mode, and then I just basically keep it in the closet. If I hear the sound, then I hear the sound. If I don't, like fuck it. So it's kind of like just with the phone, right? Now with the laptop. So let's say that you do work on a laptop and you have like you receive emails or whatever, and yeah, okay. So one thing I've realized with almost everyone who's like who lives the general lifestyle for everyone, the emails. So usually I don't know if you know this, but basically sites that you go into and you place your email in, they will actually copy your email and specifically have you in their email list. So they will make an email list where they send the same email to all the emails. And basically they just try and sell you their products. Now, obviously, you don't even open email, so you don't know what the fuck they're like doing. You just know that you're receiving a whole bunch of emails that you shouldn't be receiving because, oh, wait, why the fuck do I receive emails, right? And so an actionable step is just going into your like the platform you use for mail and emails, and just unsubscribing from all the lists. So you can go, let me just show you this. If I just show you this, so, oh fuck. I think you can go into settings here and basically just, so you got people, no, not people, fuck. Mail, I think. Yeah, mail and then subscriptions. And then you have like, look at all these people. All these just took my fucking email and they just kept sending me all these. Now, like the only platforms that I allow messages from are just these. But basically, like, look at all this. And then what you do, okay, let me just actually show you how to do this. You go into the settings up there and then just basically go into mail and then just basically go into subscriptions. And then you basically just press unsubscribe from these. So for example, if I want like unsubscribe from school and whatever, you get the point, right? That's basically just how you disable it. And then you basically just do it for all of them. It won't take like 10 minutes. So just shut the fuck up and do it. I used to cope around with this, like back then in the good old days when I didn't used to do that. I just cope around. I literally coped around with this task for like 7 days. I just didn't do it. I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll fix the fucking emails. Just do it right now. Then it's so the apps, okay? Let me just show you my desktop main. I don't really keep much apps here. I only really just keep the apps that I actually use. Now, I don't know how you can fucking remove these apps because I don't even fucking use them. But you need to have a minimalistic shit. So, like in the book, he basically just talks about let me show you this picture. Fuck. Yeah. He talks about how you can go from this to oh shit. See that? To this. And basically, he just talks about how you need to like hide those different things. I think he's talking about Mac, but I could be wrong. I don't know how you can do this online. I'll definitely like research that shit. Basically, you just hide out everything, and then you have like this start here, this one. I think you can see that. Where basically it just shows you these apps here, and you can just like place the apps that you actually use here instead of like having to fuck around. Just have a minimalistic laptop. The same thing as your phone, really. Apps, same thing. Don't keep apps that you don't use on your laptop, same as your phone. And then also like don't keep shortcuts like like the first picture where he has like 100 fucking like pictures all over and he's like got files all over here and just covering the shit. Also like a car behind there. Just be minimalistic, right? For Chrome, okay, so I think you saw how my YouTube looks. So look at this, right? Basically you can install Chrome extensions. These are like kind of just things that modify your actual Chrome. And basically look at how my Chrome looks. Subscriptions, everything's hidden, thumbnails are hidden. You go into a channel, this is like my channel. You can't see thumbnails, you can't see anything. And you can even like go extreme with that stuff, right? So let me just show you this. These are the extensions, by the way, if you want to like copy the same thing. You've got like different settings and stuff. I'll send you a link on the community, like or maybe like under this call where you're seeing this. I'll just like press that. I don't think anyone's watching, so I won't like copy in the chat. But yeah, it's basically you can copy these settings from someone who's already like got them set. I'll send you the video anyway. But basically, just these. Like obviously, like these all just for YouTube and YouTube Studio. And then you have for Instagram, let me just show you this. Oh shit. For Instagram, you actually can't see shorts. So shorts are fully hidden. And then basically it's like you can see like it's basically grayscale. You don't have like this colorful stuff. And then also here you don't really have like the explore or anything. Profiles, I think you can't see numbers either. Yeah, you can't see the followers or any of that stuff. It's pretty handy. It basically just gives you a dopamine free experience. So definitely go look into it. Basically just like Chrome extensions. And I'll basically like send you a video of like a guy setting them up and also like the other Instagram thing, right? Now, one last thing to actually enhance your laptop like work experience is focus mode. So we've got this here in the clock. It's just basically focus sessions, okay? And basically what this here does is it counts really like just your time, right? You add in you want to work for like the next 1 hour and a half. So you like put okay, I want to work, and you just basically start focus session, and then like yeah, you basically like set a goal for the day. It's like focus sessions. You abuse this, it automatically like turns on do not disturb. I mean, I always have do not disturb on, and I recommend you do this as well. Just basically always like always keep do not disturb mode on all your devices, just because it's way more handy. Yeah, that's kind of just like focus mode and do not disturb. Basically enable those. Now relationships. Now, this one's a problematic one, especially when you're doing work. For example, you may be studying, or you may be actually like doing physical work that you actually like your work, your business, right? And then out of nowhere, like someone jumps into your door, they're like start fucking talking to you, and then all that. Especially like if you like live in your parents' house, and then like you get the point. So how do you overcome relationships as a distraction constraint? Well, first thing you can do is basically a do not disturb sign on your door. So not really like a you can I made it into a flow, more so like a flow like sign. And basically it's like a little paper on the door. It's there's like two sides. Basically like you flip it. It's like, like those open and not open on like your like the basically like the stores where like this store is open and then it's not open, right? And they just like turn it around. You basically make your version of it of like flow and then no flow. So flow is like you're in flow, and so you're like you want to do some work, and so you flip on the flow. You actually like you go to them first and you tell them, okay, so this here, like if you see this on my door, this means that okay, this I'm like I'm in flow and I'm doing work, and don't interrupt me. Don't come in here in my room, and don't call me, don't do none of that crap, right? The other side of it is no flow. And then when you have no flow, you tell them, okay, so if I have like no flow, then you can actually come in and talk to me just fine. You can do like all that crap. It's fine. You can just do whatever you want, right? But if I have the flow, don't come into my room. Don't like when you see that, don't like shout to like the other room and just like start like talking, right? So this really helps, like a do not disturb sign on door. Like the author of this book, he talks about having it on your desk, but I didn't really find that useful just because like they're like if they will come outside, they'll like open the door and they'll like start talking like how will they even see that like it's on my desk? So they have to like come into my room and shout, and then they realize okay that's fucked. So the place on your door won't only like matter that much. Scheduling conversations. So okay, another constraint that I faced when I was making my calendar was I basically like would skip work just to have a conversation with my family members, and it's very wholesome. It's a very like nice thing to do. But the problem is it ends up fucking your productivity because you're not productive. You're not doing the work you should be doing. You're just going out and you're talking to your family. And I found that when I schedule my conversations, so in my Google Calendar, let me just show you this. When you go into Google Calendar, you schedule the conversations. So I have like this conversation here. Okay. You have a conversation at this time, 30 minutes. You can do whatever you want, talk. You can have your meal here as well. You can also talk while you're having the meal. Sweet. Not a single time other than that will you like basically do something else. Okay. So basically just scheduling the conversations in. I coped a lot with this. In fact, I spent like about 6 months just coping around. Oh yeah, I should definitely be scheduling conversations. No, I shouldn't be scheduling conversations. It was fucking like it was awful. I also found that people really like seem to overhype group work. Oh yeah, we should do group work and group work's awesome and we should study together and that type of crap, right? Guess what? Group work's absolute bullshit. Because when you're sat there with your friends, your immediate like your brain is wired to think, okay, this is my friend. He's not like a study partner. So studying with your friends isn't productive. It's absolute bullshit. At least like that's what I've seen it to me, like out of my experience. Most of the time when I like study with friends, I'm just laughing off with them. We're like getting distracted. We're not even like studying. If you want to do work, you do work alone. You do work, you sit in your on like alone, you put your phones on, you play the hardest fucking music ever, and you do the work. That's it. It's that simple. Don't do group work. That's basically what I fucking wanted to get across. Now, the last part for distractions is the desk. Now, this other book talks about this. Let me just fuck. This book. I talk about this a lot on the channel. Eat That Frog. This is a really nice book. And basically, the first chapter, I think, is set the table from like these procrastination, like how to avoid procrastination. He talks about setting the table. So specifically having the table like set up. And he means it in like the like having the project planned. But for me, how I understood it was actually just setting the table itself. Your desk is literally the place you sit the most to do the work. And so if your desk is fucked up and you hate how your desk looks, you won't do the work because you feel uncomfortable sitting on the desk and doing the work. And so one of the first things I basically say is just make it clean and tidy. Actually, like get some fucking decors that you actually genuinely like. I remember I like basically I went outside in the living room and I started looking at like these decors that my mother is hiding. And I specifically chose a couple of ones that I wanted on my desk because I have like Chinese cup writings and stuff like that. I have like this thing here. Look at this. It's basically just like, oh fuck. Basically just like a whole bunch of like brushes that have like Chinese letters written on them. I don't understand Chinese, but it looks pretty cool. And so I got those like from my mother and I specifically placed them on my table. And what that made that made a huge difference because now I'm actually like I'm excited to do work because like it's so welcoming to me, this desk that I'm working at. Another thing I'd probably say is just remove anything that grabs your attention. So let's say, for example, you have, I don't know, you have a book that you're reading specifically in front of you as you're doing the work. It's in or forget a book because you probably won't be like distracted from a book. Let's say you have your phone right next to you as you're working. So you're sat there, you're studying or whatever, you're like working on YouTube, and then your phone is right next to you. And so as you're just thinking, you're trying to like squeeze your brain, okay, like how do I overcome this problem? All of a sudden, like you just look to the right, oh wait, my phone's here. And then I don't know, you're even forget that you're working and you just take the phone, scroll your living ass out. And that isn't exactly productive. That fucks you over. And so what I would say is just don't fucking go for that shit. Just remove any distracting items off of your desk. What that ends up doing to you is just making you more productive because you're actually doing the work. So that's like 2 points for desk, I guess.